I would consider you probably the biggest hawk in Washington, maybe Lindsey Graham, right? I mean, you'd admit that, right?
I believe in strength and confidence.
Welcome back to Harvard. That was, of course, Fred Boenig, a Pennsylvania Gold Star father, confronting Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton. Boenig's son, Austin, died while serving in Afghanistan, and he has other children, Mr. Boenig does, who have served in the Marines and the Air Force, and he wants the war hawks in Congress to stop the rhetoric and to think before sending more U.S. troops back to fight again in the Middle East. Let's watch.
When I hear you speak, all I hear is somebody knocking on my door again. When do we get to hang up the mission accomplished banner, and when do I get to get my kids to come home safe again?
Freshman Senator Tom Cotton served for 5 years as an active-duty Army infantry officer in Iraq and Afghanistan. Cotton has opposed efforts to avoid war with Iran and generally taken hawkish positions on the Middle East, and we all know that. Here he is.
With the rise of a terrorist group like the Islamic State, or the risk of Iran getting nuclear weapons and weapons proliferating throughout the world, of not only having our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines face death on the front lines around the world, but have another mass casualty terrorist attack here in the United States.
Joining me now is Gold Star father and anti-war activist Fred Boenig. Thank you, Mr. Boenig. Thank you, and sorry for your loss.
Yeah,
you lost your son over there. Tell me what it was like to confront probably one of the biggest hawks in the Senate.
Well, I had planned on it. I've done it before. I caught Adam Kinzinger off guard at a New York University thing, and I asked the question, a simple question. How many days has it been since the last military casualty? The actual number at this point is 61, if you don't count the non-combatant death that recently 2 weeks ago. But someone who was shot, killed in action, that was 61 days ago. And prior to that, it was 116 days, which was the longest period of time since 9/11. And I just think that nobody's paying attention to the piece that we don't have our children dying every day. In 2012, I'm the morning guy on the radio. I'm on WLVR with James Braxton Peterson, and I've read every name since the beginning of the Iraq or Afghan war to now. I've read every single name, and I cried on the air every day, and I would do it at 7 o'clock in the morning in the drive time for my listeners. And it's been a while since we've had any, so I haven't had to read any, and it's nice because it would take a half an hour each day. So
why do you think we're still in Afghanistan?
I don't know, but I got a funny feeling either one of my sons is going to be there soon, or he's training right now in Fort Carson. They're training right now, but they're training desert, so we don't know. He's a crew chief on a Black Hawk.
What do you think about Rumsfeld, the former Secretary of Defense, who basically ramrodded the whole war in Iraq? Although he once told me that George W. Bush, the president, never asked him if we should go to war with Iraq. I could never figure out that crowd of neocons. And he comes out now and says, well, we should have pushed for democracy in Iraq. Wait a minute. The whole idea was to overthrow the Sunnis, put the Shia in power, de-Baathist. The whole ideological campaign, the whole war was ideology. How do you separate it out? These guys were totally into this thing, and now they're starting to pull away. Oh, I wasn't for democratization. I wasn't for this. They were totally into it.
Yes, they were. But the thing that's going on now is that with them admitting that it was a bad idea, why would they want to do it again? I mean, that's my question. Is you know, here we are.
Well, they still want to do it in Syria, and they want to go to war with Iran.
Well,
Tom Cotton is your #1 guy going to war with Iran. He and his partner Bill Kristol.
Well, they have a lot of nations around there that have full militaries. I mean, the Saudis have full militaries. The Jordanians they have tanks, thousands of tanks. They have, you know, even Turkey has 3,000 tanks. And
well, why fight if we'll do it? Anyway, you say Senator Tom Cotton, Mr. Boenig, was ginning up the threat of ISIS to the United States here at home for political reasons. Let's listen.
7,000 miles away, riding around in white pickup trucks is not coming here and cutting our heads off.
The threat environment that we face here at home and throughout the West is more grave today than at any time in any of our lifetimes.
This guy, the Bates Motel, it's always like that. He always reminds me of Tony Perkins in Psycho. I mean, this guy is so hawkish. It's always, we got to fight right now. We have to fight for the world because they're coming to get us.
Well, if you go along further into that interview, my business partner from the Daily Ripple, she's the editor of the Daily Ripple.
Yeah.
She, at 1 hour and 8 minutes, asked another question. And the question that she asked was, what about Africa and Latin America? You know, you seem to have all your interest on this when in those places we're having the same kind of thing? And he didn't really have an answer for that.
Yeah, he's focused. Anyway, thank you so much, Fred Boenig.
Thank you.
Anyway, thanks for that. Up next, the fight for Iowa is on. We're getting back to politics, and after this weekend's roast and ride event out there, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker looks more and more like the candidate to beat. By the way, he wants to go back into Iraq, too, for another war over there. Did you believe that this weekend? You're watching Hardball, the place for politics.